Mastering lighting is one of the most important parts in photography, and I know tremendously well how overwhelming it can be to choose between different types of light and light modifiers. So that's why in today's video, I'm gonna teach you everything I know about it after 15 years of experience, because probably you are still not sure whether to get a flash or continuous light, which light modifier to get, because there are millions of them. And on YouTube, there is a lot of information, but it's not focused in your specific needs. So probably you are even more confused because the options are endless. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like to keep things simple for beginners and affordable. This is very important when you are just starting. So stick around till the end of the video, because I'm gonna try to help you as much as I can to make the perfect choice for your specific needs. We all have different studio sizes. You may shoot in a small studio, in a big one in a garage, and some of us, we shoot from home. So that's why this video is gonna be focused regarding your niche and regarding the size of your studio. But first, if we share the same passion for photography and the creative industry, make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I share weekly videos to help you grow with your camera and make money from photography. And I also share some vlogs here and there since I moved to Bali. So click the bell button to be notified as well about my videos. Flash or continuous light. Each of them has its pros and cons, and the best for you depends on your photography niche and your specific needs. Flash lighting, it's very powerful, so it's great to freeze subjects in action. So for example, in London, I was shooting a lot with music artists, so they are not professional models. So what I do, so they appear more natural, is ask them to move around in the same space, because I always catch them in motion and I freeze them with my flash. So for this is very beneficial. And also, if you're a product photographer and you like to shoot creative shots, for example, you are dropping something in the water, like a bottle or something, and there is a splash and you want to freeze it, the flash is perfect for it. It's way more powerful, so it's gonna be more beneficial. But there are also continuous lights powerful enough for you to achieve this as well, but obviously they're gonna be more pricey. Flash is great as well to shoot outdoors under the sun, because it's very powerful. But again, nowadays it's not like before. We have incredible continuous lights, powerful enough, and you're gonna be able to achieve the same as with the flash. The downside of using flash for beginners is that you don't know how the picture is going to look. So if you are just learning studio photography, it's gonna be easier with a continuous light, because you're gonna be able to shape the light and you are seeing it. Because yes, the flash has a modeling lamp, but it's not the same. You're gonna be able to see perfectly how the subject is gonna look in your photo with a continuous light, like the one I'm using right now, for instance. So it's easier to learn for beginners with a continuous light. And also, another amazing plus of using continuous light over flash is that you can use it for video. And don't tell me you don't do video, because nowadays, if you are a photographer and you want to make money with photography, you're gonna find that many brands are going to ask you to shoot video as well. Because of Instagram, TikTok, you know how it is nowadays, all the ads on Instagram are video. So many times, and it's gonna give you more money as well, when you are shooting product photography or portrait photography, they're gonna tell you, the brand is gonna tell you, can you do a couple of reels? So it's very beneficial that you have a light already to be able to lead the product video. So this is very, very good, and don't think you're not gonna get into video, because I thought so time ago, and here I am on YouTube every single week, and video, it's here to stay and it's just growing and growing. So the continuous light is very good for both. I've been using flash for many years. I love using flash because I got used to it, but lately I've been shooting just with continuous lights, and I'm very happy with the results. It's very comfortable to shoot video and photos with my same continuous lights. So this is entirely up to you what you prefer. The main thing you have to think about when choosing continuous lights is the power of the lights. So I'm gonna talk about my continuous lights and advise you about the power you may need regarding your photography niche and the size of your photography studio. This is very important for beginners, because many people make mistakes with this. So I hope everything is gonna be clear, I hope. And if not, comment below. I always try to reply to every single one of you. The brand you choose, it's going to be entirely up to you, okay? I'm just gonna show you my lights, the ones I use, and why I use them. And then you can make your own decisions. I always tell you that on my channel. YouTube is a great place to watch reviews, but then always think about your needs, okay? All my lights right now are from June. Why? Because they are so tiny and powerful. And when I used to use them over a year ago, I never looked back because I used to shoot with very big flashes and lights, and these are totally fine for you if you have a big studio and you are not planning to move too much. By my situation, I moved all the way from London to Bali, so I could bring just one light for lit in my videos and my photos. So I brought the X100 from June, and it's super freaking tiny and powerful. And June is sponsoring today's tutorial, so I asked them as well to send me different light modifiers for me to be able to bring you this tutorial, and they were super nice and they sent me a few of them. I will show you later to teach you how to use them, regardless of the brand you choose to take, okay? So this being said, I've been working with 4 different powers: 60 watts, 100 watts, 300 watts, and 500 watts, which is insane. It's a lot, you may not need it, okay? So the first one would be the 60 watts, which is the Molus X60. It's freaking tiny, that's the reason why I love it so much. It works with battery and you can plug it as well. It's the one I'm using over there, actually, on my desk. So it creates more depth in the image and it's more beautiful. But the reason I love them as well, it's because they're RGB. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love shooting with RGB lights, and I've been showing you my lighting setups. So make sure to follow me over there because I like to share stories of my life as a photographer in Bali and my behind the scenes of my videos. 60 watts is gonna be enough for beginners or people with a home photography studio like me, or small studios. If you want RGB lights, this one is great for it because you can use it as a continuous light, like normal, or as an RGB light. But if you are shooting in a bigger studio, or you want to lead more the scene because you are shooting with more people, or you want to lead more the subject in general, 60 watts is a bit limited. You can use it. I've been shooting self-portrait photography with it and it's perfect, but you cannot move too much around, okay? Because it's not like a lot of light. The next one would be the Molus X100. Super tiny, is the one I brought all the way from London because it fits in my camera bag. It also has a battery, or you can just plug it and that's it. 100 is quite good already. I actually have a video about this light and what you can achieve with it because I was shooting self-portrait photography with it and I was shooting my videos in London with it and also here in Bali. So 100 is a bit better than 60 in terms of power because obviously it's more powerful, but still a bit more limited. I did photo shoots in London with music artists with 100 watts and it was enough, but I noticed when I'm asking the person to move, I wasn't freezing the scene that easy because obviously I had to play with my shutter speed of my camera to lead more the scene. And my studio wasn't too dark in London. So you have a dark studio, 100 can be still a little bit tight, okay? So that's why I'm gonna talk, I think, about the sweet spot, at least for me, which is 300 watts. And this is a new release from June. This one offers 300 watts, which I think is very powerful for big studios, for leading a group of people as well, because more people in the scene, more light you need. 300, I think, is the perfect power for professional photographers, for professional studios, and to be a bit more safe as well. And I love the G300, first of all, because it's super small and compact. For 300 watts, that's insane. And also I love that the cable is 7 meters because the power supply is separately and you can always hang it in the C stand or in the light stand and you can control the light from there. Obviously it's by color, so you can always change from colder to warmer, and you have creative lights for video as well, which is very good for filmmakers. And it has Bowen's adapter, so you don't have to worry about anything because, for instance, the other two, the 60 watts and the 100, they are so tiny that they have a different adapter. So you have to buy the Bowen's adapter separately. With this one, no, it's already there, so you don't have to have a headache about it. And I like 300 for most of the things: portrait photography, product photography, shooting larger groups of people, and even shooting in daylight. Because with the tiny ones, they may be useful in a moody day or during blue hour and at night, of course, but with daylight, maybe they may act as a fill light, not as a main key light. To battle with the sun, you're gonna need 300 to 500. Either better to say even 500. But 300 is always safer if in the long run you know that you're gonna be shooting in a studio. The main mistake everyone does as a beginner, me included when I started, is buying always the cheapest thing. Try to don't do this even if you have to wait a little bit more to save more money, because many times you're gonna buy the cheap thing and then after a few months you're gonna want more because it's not enough and you're gonna buy the next light. Or I talk about lights, but it can be camera, it can be whatever. This happened to me with a camera. I bought a compact camera when I first started in photography, and even my parents told me, you're gonna regret, you should buy a DSLR. No, I don't wanna buy a DSLR. I bought the compact camera, and after I think it was a week and a half, no more than that, I was like, I want a DSLR because for me a compact is not enough. So try to always get the middle ground over there, okay? And also I forgot to mention that you can control all the Xeon lights with your phone. There is an app and you can control everything with your phone. I don't personally use it, but I can see how it can be very handy in big studios. And the next light, which is the king of the lights I have, I don't know how Xeon did this, to be honest, is the B500. It's 500 watts. It's such a good looking light, by the way, and it's so compact and it doesn't have a power supply. It's integrated. It's just the light and that's it. And other brands, you have the head of the light and then you have the power supply, which is huge as well. This one is 500 watts and it's just the head, the continuous light. It's incredible. So I'm very happy with this one, but you may not need this one. 500 watts, it's a lot. So get it just if you have the budget and you want to escalate and you want to upgrade your gear. 500 watts, it's incredible. For me, it's very handy because it's gonna be like my main key light for all the main work I do. For now, I don't even need it if I shoot from home because 300 is more than enough. So this is like everything. It all depends on your needs and your budget and how much you are willing to spend. This one is a bit heavier, obviously, and it's 2.8 kilos, which is still super light for what it is. And obviously you can control it with the phone as well, which is great. And the conclusion, just to do like a quick recap for you to absorb all the information I'm giving you. 60 watts for portrait photography and product photography, it's great in a small studio with a small or medium light modifier. Don't put a huge light modifier in such a tiny light, like not powerful enough, because the light is gonna disperse and it's not gonna be powerful enough. So it's gonna be fine for some portrait photography and product photography, but it's a bit limited. 60 watts for video, it's more than enough, for instance, because I was using 60 watts for a long time on YouTube and it was more than enough. I'm actually recording now with the G300 and it's at 7% of power. 7. So imagine if I put it at 100, it's gonna blind me. So for video, it's gonna be fine. And for photography, you're gonna be able to work with portrait photography and product photography without a lot of movement because I was using 60 and it was fine. Then 100 is gonna be very similar but a bit better, let's say. 300 I think is the sweet spot, as I mentioned before. You're gonna be able to work in a bigger studio and you're gonna be more safe if you want the subject to move and you want to immortalize the scene. And then 500, as I just mentioned, is more professional. And if you have a big studio and you have the budget and you want to be super safe regarding moving subjects. And now I'm gonna talk about the popular light modifiers. And I'm gonna give you some advice, and I actually love talking about light modifiers because you cannot buy a light without a light modifier. Like, this is the most important part, even more than the light almost, because without the light modifier, the light is gonna be super harsh and it's gonna be useless, okay? So you are going to have a light modifier to soften the skin of your model and to soften the light of the product photography you are taking. It's not just for portrait photography. So I'm gonna talk about my favorite ones, and these are universal. These are from June, but you have these ones in any brand. June ones are very affordable, so they are not expensive ones. There are more expensive ones out there. I'm gonna explain the shapes for you to decide. So the first one is the Octabox. This one was my go-to for many years because I was working in a home photography studio and it's quite small. The one I have is 60 centimeters. It's perfect for a small photography studio, even for a medium photography studio. I love it, and it's more than enough for portrait photography, product photography, and even half body. Something I love about the Octaboxes is that normally they have 2 layers of diffusion. So pay attention to this because 2 layers is better than 1. This one has 2, and also something super important that I'm using right now is the grid panel. The grid is to direct and focus more the light on your subject. So you're gonna be able to see in this B-roll the differences, because I like to always show you what I'm talking about. But with the grid, it's gonna be more focused, and with the normal diffusion, it's gonna be more diffused and more 3D. I love both, but right now I'm using the grid because I like the scene very moody, as you can see now, and it directs the light on me, and that's it. It's not spilling everywhere. This is so important to consider when you are buying an Octabox, because you're gonna have to check if the brand is including the grid with the softbox. Many brands don't include it. The one I was using in London didn't include the grid. So June includes it, and also a bag to carry it, which is super handy because they are very nice to fold and carry around, the softboxes. That's why I love them so much. And the next kind of softbox is the parabolic. The parabolic is my favorite one. So the Octabox is perfect, but the parabolic is big. This one, mine, is 90 centimeters of diameter and is huge. And it's deep and it's amazing. So if you have the space, for me the parabolic, it's the best lighting ever, because the bigger the source of light, the softer the light. And I love the parabolic. My room is quite big, to be honest, so it's okay for me to shoot with the parabolic. If you have a small room or home photography studio, shoot with the Octabox 60 centimeters because it's perfect. It's very good as well. And the next light would be the lantern. The lantern is more like a ball, so it really diffuses the light everywhere, but it's very soft and very cinematic. The good thing is that it brings a skirt, it's called. And with the skirt, you can cover parts of the lantern to shape the light. So don't be scared to get a lantern if you like, because you're gonna be able to shape the light regardless. I would recommend you, I don't have it here, to buy, how is it called? A boom stand. So you can actually hang the lantern on top of the model. It's gonna be beautiful, the lighting. Here I just have a normal light stand, but I'm gonna get one of those. They use it a lot in filmmaking for interviews as well. So these are my 3 favorite. I'm gonna talk now about the ones very popular as well and why I don't use them. The main one would be the square softbox. And it's totally fine to use it, it's beautiful lighting as well, but the only reason why I prefer an Octabox is because of the catch light on the eyes of the model. When it's circular, it's way more natural. Otherwise, you're gonna get a catch light, also beautiful, but it's a square. I prefer to have a circular catch light than not a square one, and that's the only reason why I don't use square softboxes. And the next one would be umbrella. I'm sure many people are fan of umbrellas, and that's totally fine. They are so affordable, super cheap, and they do the job. So umbrellas are nice. I don't use them because for me, softbox is the best of the best. Obviously a bit more expensive, but not that expensive. Because when I started 15 years ago, the brands were expensive brands, and you really needed to have money to buy a softbox or to buy a light. Like years ago, one light would be like £1,500, and one reflector would be like 150 or 200. So now it's very affordable in compared to before. Another light modifier, it's the beauty dish, and I love them. I was shooting a lot with DJs in London with a beauty dish, and I managed quite well. It was quite small, I can't remember the diameter, so I could take just portraits. And actually I love them because the light is very directed on the face, so I could create moodiness anyway. And yeah, I love beauty dishes. So the only con about beauty dishes and why I don't use them anymore is because they are hard to carry around. So the soft boxes and the lantern are so comfy because you can fold them as an umbrella, put them in the bag and carrying them around, and they are not heavy at all. A beauty dish, it's completely different because it's heavier, it's bulky, and you have to carry like a hard case for them, which is fine as well if you have a car, but I don't have a car in Bali. I go with my scooter everywhere. So for me, it's better soft boxes. And these are the most popular. There are more, obviously, but these are the main ones. And my favorite ones, I just told you which ones they were. So what should you buy for your photography studio? I already told you the pros and cons of flash and continuous light. Flash, it's very good for immortalize the scene, but continuous light is very good if you're gonna do video as well, because you are killing 2 birds in one shot. I don't know if this saying exists in English. In Spanish is matar dos pájaros de un tiro. Comment below if I'm saying it right in English, because I don't know if it exists, that phrase in English, to be honest, but I think you got my point. So yeah, flash or continuous light depending on your work and what you are going to do. And regarding the power, think wisely. Don't be too short and don't go over the top if you don't have the budget. If you have the budget, bring it on because it's better, more power, but take something you're gonna be comfortable with and you're gonna be safe with depending on your work. And then regarding softboxes, for a small studio, I highly recommend you the Octa box, but you're gonna shoot groups of people. The parabolic, it's gonna disperse more the light. So it all depends. Also, as I mentioned before, but I had to remind you because this is very important, don't buy a 60 watts light and a massive parabolic, because yes, you're gonna be able to lit the scene, but not too much because the light is dispersing a lot. So if you are getting a big reflector, make sure you are getting power on your lights, okay? This is very important. So again, focus on your niche and focus on the size of your studio to decide which light to get and which reflector to get. And don't overthink it, because I know how overwhelming it can be. Just get one light, one diffuser, shoot, and with years, you're gonna see what you want, what you prefer, you're gonna have more budget, and you're gonna experiment. When I started with a wheat dish, and then I started to experiment, and now I'm able to give you advice based on my own experience, and then you make your own choices. But this is the journey, and you have to embrace it, and it's actually fun. You're gonna make mistakes many times with purchases, and that's fine. I did many. That's why now I'm very knowledgeable about these things. So don't be scared, just try to make the right choice, don't be too overwhelmed, and enjoy the process. You're gonna have all the links below to the gear I use, and Jim gave me a special discount code for you. So if you decide to go for any of the lights, you're gonna get an exclusive discount. I'm gonna put it down below, so go check it out. And if you have any question about the lights, please ask me, or about the reflectors, about anything. I will do my best to reply. Sometimes I take longer. And subscribe to my channel if you didn't yet, and like the video if you found it helpful, because it does help me a lot. And I will see you next week. Mwah. Big love from Bali.